Hi everybody and welcome to another making of video. It's been already we are well over 20. This is postcard 22 or 23 if I remember well. So we are almost halfway from the 50 music postcards that we are bringing as a proposal for celebrating Mexico with this selection of fine songs. Again, as in the previous video, I would like to thank people in who have shown a level of interest in this series, in this small project. And I would like to start by thanking people in Sweden, in Netherlands, Belgium, and Austria, who are the countries that have shown most of the interest in this series of videos. So thanks everyone. Thank you very much. I hope that you are enjoying not only the images of the video, but also the songs that I've been sharing. I also, when I am asked about it, I like to insist that even though, of course, I enjoy working on the songs itself, I enjoy it even more working on the making of videos because this is a time to bring these thoughts, these reflections on what is actually behind a particular song and what should one be paying attention and the things that I have been sharing with you in the past. I am very aware that there is some background noise. Fortunately, some of the noise is very nice to hear. There are some birds. It's still, I would say, spring, but now we are expected to be. Well, the seasons throughout the year have been dramatically changed. So I wouldn't like. I really don't know whether we are in. I would like to. I really don't know whether we are in summer or spring. Either way, there are birds singing around, and that's some of the small noises that I hear in the background. The other one is the fan that I have over my head. It's already very hot in the area of Puerto Vallarta, so it's almost impossible to do anything in a closed room without having some sort of ventilation, a fan, or anything that can help with the temperature. Well, with that being said, now it's time for us to start talking about this week's song. If you have already gone through the actual postcard, you may have or you are certainly aware that we are talking about a song called No niegues que me quisiste by Mexican composer Jorge del Moral. As I also stated there in the short description of the video, unfortunately, Jorge del Moral died at age, well, he was very young. He was 41 years old when he deceased. So after, even though he was a prolific composer, dying at that age didn't give us a chance of getting to know what else was in his, what else was he planning to, or would he be composing in the future. But a good number of his songs are very, very popular. As I also stated there in the description of the video, many of the most famous singers have them in their recitals and concerts. So the music, either I believe that all tessitures like to sing, not only tenors, sopranos, mezzos, baritones, and even basses and contraltos like to bring his music to their concerts. Music well worth being spread. And there is a good number of songs that are very famous, and this is the case of the songs that we are sharing today. Today we are sharing, as I just mentioned, No niegues que me quisiste, one of the most famous songs he ever wrote. And No niegues que me quisiste can be translated in a good number of ways. Before we jump into the translation and meaning of the song, you know that I, at the beginning of the video, I like to share with you on how is it that I learned about this song. And I have to bring my memory to somewhere. I believe it was either in the late 90s, 1990. I don't know, maybe 1997, 98. I'm really not sure. And because I don't think it was the 2000s when there was a series of presentations by Mexican opera singers. Most of them were concertistas de Bellas Artes, this group of solists that Bellas Artes has singing in several places. And this was organized by I remember he was always called doctor by a doctor. Not sure if he was actually in the health, or it has to do with the studies. I mean, he was a doctorate. I'm not sure, but he was always called a doctor. He had a program on the radio FM, mm, almost over 2 decades and a half. I recall that he had not only his radio program, but on Sunday mornings, 9 a.m., believe it or not. 9 a.m. for Sundays, there were always these presentations at the Museo del Chopo. Museo del Chopo is a very beautiful place. If you would like to look for it in Google, Google it Chopo, CHOPO, Museo Universitario del Chopo. It is part of the UNAM, the Mexican largest university in Mexico. Uh, the Chopo is part of the UNAM, of this university. I think you would enjoy it because, in fact, the structure, if I recall well, has to do with constructions in Germany. So I believe that if you take a look at those images over there, and maybe it could be a nice idea, or it could be a good idea if I show it to you myself. I'm going to look it for Museo. If you are listening and how I am actually typing on it, Universitario del Chopo, because I think, and also being aware that Germany and Austria are of the countries that are more listening to this. Yeah, I think you're going to like it. Yeah. Let me select this picture, and I am going to put it on the screen for you. And this is the Museo Universitario del Chopo, a very beautiful place. The construction, if you can read the history of it, and you will also be familiar with this type of construction, as I was just saying, has to do with Germany. And well, with that being said, there were these Sunday concerts morning at the Museo Universitario del Chopo, and a good number of artists, singers were invited. And it was a very nice place to go on Sundays. It was a very nice way to start Sundays, even though one had to get up very early to attend them. But I remember that there was also a number of people who enjoyed attending them. And now, after this blah blah blah, I wanted to share that unfortunately I don't recall the name of the soprano, but the first time I heard this song and that I felt so very impressed by this song was by this soprano, and it was on the at this space at the Museo Universitario del Chopo. I recall them being very good singers, and I recall this soprano was a soprano from Puebla. Puebla is a state in Mexico full of tradition and history as well. Many of you may be aware of the Battle of Puebla after the invasion of the French army. One of the most important battles took place in Puebla. So this soprano was from that famous state in Puebla. She was a poblana. That's the way we call people from Puebla, poblanos. So she was a soprano poblana. And I recall her being very, very, very young. And I also recall the quality of her voice. So very unfortunate that I don't recall her name, but I remember that this first time that I heard the song, I was so impressed about the quality of the sound, about the emotion that she transmitted while singing. And I also recall something that you may have noticed in the actual postcard, because even though there is not a high note written for the voice to sing at the end of the song, she went actually for that high note, and it was of very good taste. I remember that it was not only a display or showcasing her high notes and vocal capabilities, but maybe partially it was. Of course, she wanted to show us that he had these very beautiful high notes, but it made lots of sense based on her interpretation. I recall this phrase because you will notice it here. I am going to show it just very quickly, because at the end of the song you go like this. Espera que si amordiste amor te den a small pause, and then it was like no niegues, and this is where she placed a very high note, And I recall that all the audience got like frozen, like the time wasn't passing after listening the quality to the quality of this very high note. And we were also very impressed that, imagine now, well over 2 decades and a half, and even though I don't recall, unfortunately, the name of the soprano, I still keep in my mind the interpretation of this song. This song was made just perfect for her. Okay, now time to start talking about the actual score or the words in the song. So, No niegues que me quisiste, by the very talented Mexican composer Jorge del Moral. And the style of Jorge del Moral in his writing of music is very is I would say identifiable, because there are a good number of things that he likes to do. I will try to point them out. Hopefully, I am successful in making you realize about these characteristics of his writing. And if you recall Besos Robados, it had a previous postcard. And by the way, is the one that will be suggested in the cards of this video. If you recall that video, it has a similar construction. I would say similar construction in terms of the blocks, if I am allowed to call it that way. The blocks on how he's putting the music together. A block where there is a presentation, usually sung like with drama, but very secco, more than cantabile, and in a slow to moderato time. In this case, it is solo me encuentro ahora, solo con mi dolor. And look at this. Right after being these two phrases, solo me encuentro ahora, solo con mi dolor, you immediately jump to niégame que tu cariño ha sido. And this is so very Jorge del Moral. Again, if you go to Besos Robados, you may recall that there are also these phrases like seco, song, moderato, in much slower tempo. And then he likes to, I would say, throw, but I don't think he throws, because I don't want to be disrespectful, because I don't think he did it just like do anything. I'm pretty sure he did it on purpose, but I wanted to use the word throw, because right after coming from this solo me encuentro ahora, solo con mi dolor, then you go to this very beautiful line of the melody where you say, and the rhythm of the spoken Spanish, niégame que tu cariño ha sido. If you go to Besos Robados, you will recall that there are also phrases like that, where he puts several words, and in consequence, a good number of syllables in the same amount of time, where in the past he used to give 4 or 5. Now he gives, for this time, he gives 8, or a different number of syllables, which makes us feel that we are speaking faster. So, solo me encuentro ahora, solo con mi dolor. Niégame que tu cariño ha sido. Of course, you can also make it a little slower, and I recall that while rehearsing it, I did it also that way. Niégame que tu cariño ha sido. Instead of niégame que tu cariño ha sido una infame traición. When you go back, you repeat again. Solo con mis tristezas, con mi íntimo dolor, niégame que en tus besos me diste un poquito de amor. Going back to the lyrics, now that I find myself all alone with my pain and sorrow, please, and it says, niégame que tu cariño ha sido, and please do not deny that your love, that your tenderness was nothing but an infamous treason. So there is some anger, some sort of, like wanting payback. Was this just an infamous treason? Solo con mis tristezas, con mi íntimo dolor. Then again, along with me and my sadness, with my intimate pain and sorrow. Now, do not deny that in your kisses there was some love. So, you're of course upset, mad, sad because you are being left by someone who tells you that he or she didn't love you. But in the bottom of your heart, you know that he or she actually loved you, and that's why you're telling him or her, do not deny that in your kisses there was actually love. You may have well pretended, but I know deep in my heart that you really loved me. Look how the tempo moves now from moderato, and now we go to cantabile. Creíste que mi cariño tan solo fue. Also, if you go to the Besos Robados postcard, you will also find that there is a section very similar to this in that song. Again, you go to a cantabile after having set up the drama or what this is going to be about, and after having made use of a very nice melody that speeds up the spoken Spanish, you go to a section that is actually, we could say, sung in a more traditional sense. Como algo que se recuerda ya sin querer. You, for the very first time, go to the phrase of the song, no niegues que me quisiste, please do not deny that you actually loved me, because maybe your eyes will be so ashamed that you won't even dare to see me. You know, again, the expression that I know that you loved me, you actually loved me. Your eyes cannot deny it. So if your eyes cannot deny it, please go ahead and accept it. So, and this is, and you know, because of the, now the notes are getting higher, they are not in the middle of the tesitura, now that you are reaching the highest scale, and you have to put some drama in here. No niegues que me quisiste porque tal vez tus ojos avergonzados no sabrán ver. Then it goes to a phrase that is now much more quieter, more intimate. Si enferma de amor te encuentras alguna vez. Because right after having said that, your eyes will be so ashamed of knowing that you are not telling me the truth when you say that you didn't love me, you go to a different state of your soul, of mood, and you say, but if you are ever, and I'm not sure if the expression in English is so sick of love, it sounds weird, but if you are so madly in love, if you are so madly in love, if you ever find yourself so madly in love, and then you will find suffering just the same way I am suffering for your love. What will happen then when you find yourself in the same situation that you're putting me now? Well, hopefully, if you have given love, you will get love in return. But please do not deny that I loved you and that you loved me as well. This is an extraordinary song, as you can see. And not only I mentioned about this change of rhythm, how you come from a moderato, almost secco, hardly, we could say, sung in a continuous melody. You jump then to this very beautiful change in the rhythm of Niégame que tu cariño ha sido, and then you fall now into full song as cantabile. Creíste que mi cariño tan solo fue como algo que se recuerda ya sin querer. No niegues que me quisiste porque tal vez tus ojos avergonzados no sabrán ver. Si enferma de amor te encuentras alguna vez y sufres lo que yo sufro por el querer, espera que si amor diste, amor te dé. niegues que yo te quise y tú también. By the way, we are rapping this song again in the y tú también, the same way Jorge del Moral raps his Besos Robados song. As I was telling you in the before, the Besos Robados and No Niegues que Me Quisiste have a very similar way of the author actually putting together the different sections of the song. So if you have, in case of any doubt, go to the making of video and you will realize that even though I'm not exactly sure of the note that we are wrapping up Besos Robados, it's the same way we are wrapping it. Take a look at this section, take a look at that video and see how it is actually wrapped up in the same way. That's the way he did. That was his style. That's the way he liked to wrap his songs. Y tú también. But there is, before we are already running out of time, I wanted to make very quickly to mention of something, the use of pauses in Jorge del Moral's composition. He adds these pauses here and there, which bring a special meaning of the song to the song. I am almost sure that you have heard in the past that music is not only about the notes that are actually being written and interpreted. The music is also about the silences. And there is a small silence here. You will notice in the actual recording and the piano, the pianist chose to make a much longer pause, like a feeling of detente. I'm not sure how to say that in English, like the emotion is suddenly like in a pause before jumping into the other. Que tu cariño tan solo fue, small pause again, silence, before saying como algo que se recuerda ya sin querer. Again, a silence, small pause in the music, at least in the song music. No niegues que me quisiste. And realize we have another silence here for the voice before the next phrase. And then another silence before the following phrase. And then again we have another silence before the actual note. So this is so Jorge del Moral, making these silences in the voice before attacking or going for the next phrase. And that's one of the things that makes his composition so very clever, bright, and elegant. I hope you enjoyed the song as much as I enjoyed working on it, and I hope to see you some other time soon. Thanks, everybody, and bye bye.